X PWR H7 with 66-inch cable.
Good day, folks. Don here from 3BR Power Sports. I recently received a support request from a customer who has a GoPro HERO7 in an X PWR H7 mount frame with 66-inch cable. And he said when he tries to record with the battery removed, it will go in record mode for 1 or 2 seconds and then go back to standby mode. So this camera is now, 6 years old, 2018, it came out. And I run whatever current GoPro is for that year on my motorcycle as a dash cam, and I don't recall ever having an issue with it with the battery in or removed. And also I haven't received any other support requests with the same type of issues. So let's see if we can figure out what's going on. So all right, I've got my camera set up with a cable and let's plug it in. I'll be reading out voltage current on my analyzer here. All right, let's go ahead and start it. Now notice I run GoPro Labs firmware. GoPro Labs is a division of GoPro, so it's not a scab or a hack. It's just firmware that greatly expands the capability of any of the Hero cameras. All right, we're up and running, no battery, 4K 60 is what the customer said he's running. Let's go into record mode. Well, that's interesting. It seems to be working all right. Let's let it run. There we go. Ran 10 seconds and now it looks like it's actually shut down. So let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. And by the way, he said that it runs fine if he uses the GoPro cable. So let's give that a try. Here's a standard GoPro 18-inch cable that comes with the camera. And let's go ahead and plug that in. All right. Turn the camera on and record. It shut off, at 15 seconds with a 66-inch cable, so we're past that point already. All right. Back to standby mode. Back to record. All right. That seems to corroborate what the customer said. It works fine with the 18-inch cable. Why is that? All right, so the first thing I think about, 18-inch cable versus a 66-inch cable, is cable resistance. I wouldn't think that that would have much effect since even the 66-inch cable is well below the 10-foot maximum length that USB standards say is allowable for data transfer, and we're just doing power transfer here, not data, but it could have an effect. So let's have a look. I've got some of my breakout boards here, a load tester. So the first thing I want to do is check cable resistance. So what I'm going to do is plug the cable into a breakout board, and we'll look at the resistance between V-bus, which is +5 here, and that pin on the connector. So let me get my multimeter here set up to ohms. This is the pin that we need right there. And we are about 600 milliohms resistance on the 66-inch cable. So now let's do the same with the 18-inch cable. Okay, pin 1. What's going down to 200 milliohms. So that is a third, which is about right. You think 18 inches versus 66 inches. So it's about what you would expect. But nevertheless, it may be that longer cables have enough voltage drop to affect camera operation. Now the USB specification for voltage is 5 volts plus minus 5%, so that's 4.75 to 5.25 volts. So what I have here is a load tester for USB cables. So let me take this 66-inch cable and plug it into my power source and plug it into the load tester. Let's crank up the load. So we know we run around an amp or so when we're recording. So we're down to 4. Let's see, we're outputting 5.3 volts from the power bank. We're down to just under the specified 4.75 volts at 1 amp. So that is what I would say is marginal if the camera doesn't have a very wide range of allowable voltage input. So that could be the issue. So let's try the 18-inch cable. See how much difference that cable resistance actually makes. Let's crank the current up. And it's pretty clear that there's not much difference. It's not even down to 5 volts at 1.03 amps. So definitely a huge difference in voltage to the device due to cable resistance. So that may be the issue. I'm going to try something here. Let me take a cable off of a newer product. So here's a 66-inch cable off of my latest product. This is for the Insta360 Ace Pro, and notice it's a right angle cable, something new for me. And let's see how it does. All right, so let's start cranking up the load here. And sure enough, it's actually substantially better than the older cable. Now, specification-wise, all my cables are the same. They're all 24 gauge power and ground, 26 gauge data conductors, so there's no difference in the construction of the cable. So I wouldn't expect any difference in overall cable resistance. So I'm not sure, do cables age? Do they get contact oxidation? What causes it? But it's pretty clear that the problem is caused by longer cables. Now let me do one more thing. I've got a shorter cable here. This is a 48-inch H7 cable. Let's give that a try. Crank up some current on that. And again, it's staying up around 5 volts. So I would expect this cable to work fine with the H7. So let's try that. Okay, what are we doing for power? Looks like it's all good. Now, let's try one more thing. I really haven't had any need to do this, but does the right angle cable work with the X PWR H7 kit? Wow, look at that. Cool. There you go, folks. If you ever want a right angle cable for your X PWR H7, this will do it. Now let's see. This is a 66-inch cable. Let's see if that works all right. It's looking good so far. So wow, that's a pretty cool discovery. You can now run a right angle cable, 66 length, and have it record properly. So there we have it. It looks as though the H7 66-inch cable resistance is high enough that it's causing a voltage drop to the camera that doesn't allow the camera to have enough power to record.